Good morning, welcome to the vlog. It's very early on a summer's day. It's a summer's day, but it's September, which is still technically summer, but we haven't had much for summer this year in England. So, but this week's going to be very hot. So I've come down to the River Orwell, to Pin Mill actually, where I shot these pictures earlier in the year. The tide's just going out. It's not being a particularly high tide, but my idea today is to shoot these beautiful yachts that are sitting out on the estuary, and the sun's just coming up now, so we're going to shoot this in a second. But there's mist rising. It's been quite hot, but we had lots of water before that, and obviously there's loads of water here. And what happens when it heats up quickly is you get evaporation, condensation, you get water vapor, which gives you that kind of lovely misty look as long as there's no wind, and today's perfectly still. So got a really lovely atmosphere here. I'm going to shoot high key, which I'll talk you through in a second, and this is going to be a very simple shot. Yachts, reflections, clear sky, mist, pastel, beautiful, delicate, lovely. This looks really lovely. It's going to be a very high key shot. So remember when we exposed to the right in a vlog earlier on, I used to do this a lot with my GFX 50R. And if you remember this woodland picture, which I really like, still one of my favourites, exposed to the right, so the histogram to the right. I've got the histogram up on the camera. Let me just shoot this now because I'm worried the light's going to go. So my original idea was a single yacht, but there are so many lovely yachts here, I can't actually single one out particularly, or I can, but the ones I can single out I don't particularly like so much. And it's also to do with how far away they are. The closer they are, the sharper they'll be, but I want them to be slightly misty. So I found a little composition of two here. Let me show you that on the back of the camera. So what we've got here, this is the composition. It's very simple. The yacht over here is obviously closer than the one behind, which means that the one behind is slightly misty. You get this sense of depth. The peninsula behind us, there's fields there which are covered in mist. I can just see it lying down just above the reeds, and I'm going to shoot it like this. So I've got the reflection of the mast in, and then there's more sky than there is a river. Now the halfway point is the top of that bank, which I really could do with losing, because I want to be a little bit more dynamic maybe on this as far as the composition is concerned. So if I just undo you and show you, so something like that is kind of what I've got in my head. And now the reflection of that mast is the thing that's bothering me. That's about level. Something like that might look okay, but to be honest, that's going to happen back in the dark room. So I'm going to shoot slightly wider than maybe I would, and then I'll play around with the crop when I go back into Lightroom. I don't know what these birds are. I think there's some curlews. I think there's some oyster catchers. There's generally quite a few oyster catchers around here. Having a lovely time on the beach. Obviously an outgoing tide, they're going to be gobbling up anything that's laying on the surface, lugworm and stuff. So they're having a great feed for breakfast. Anyway, back to the photography. Yep. These are looking really nice actually. So the other thing I wanted to talk to you about is something you have to bear in mind is when you're shooting pictures of yachts or in an estuary, is they are going to move. I mean, the tide's going to rock them a little bit. I mean, this water's almost still. It is moving a little bit, and the tide is going out, so that will affect them. So there's a possibility on a tripod at a long exposure of blur, because it will be a movement blur. The yacht itself will be moving, so you have to think about your shutter speed. That's quite important. I'm shooting at 1/8 of a second here at f8, and because the boat's quite a long way away, any perceptible movement is going to be so imperceptible, we're not going to be able to see it. But the further away it is, the less kind of influence it has. Now, a lot of people think, well, that's okay, I've got stabilisation on my camera, which is great, and stabilisation can either be body stabilisation, in-body stabilisation, or lens stabilisation, or both, and that's great. But bear in mind that stabilisation IBIS, as it's called, or VR, vibration reduction systems, only work on the actual camera. So it actually takes the place of a tripod. If you've got on a tripod, the IBIS makes no difference whatsoever, and it won't stop whatever's in front of you from blurring. Okay, it doesn't stop that blurring, that's called blur. Vibration reduction is how you hold it. So if I were to shoot this like a quarter of a second handheld, and let's say my vibration reduction would allow me to do that, the camera would appear to be sharp, but if the object or subject is still moving, then you'll still get blur. Okay, so bear that in mind. Now this looks really lovely. I mean, let me just show you this through the camera again. We're going to flick this into there because I just want to talk to you about, I'm going to go a little bit higher key than this when I do this, but look at the mist. Look at the mist, just, oh, it's my finger. The mist just in there. So that field behind those two yachts look absolutely wonderful. You only get that when there's mist, and you generally only get that in the mornings. You do sometimes get it all day if it's really foggy, and sometimes you'll get it in the evening, but generally I find the best time to shoot mist is early in the morning. So the weather's been cold, all of the water has condensed, okay, and it's heavy, it's fallen, and as it heats up, it turns from a liquid into a gas, and it starts to rise. And that moment between being a liquid and being a gas is called water vapor, and that's the bit you see as mist or fog. A lot of people, children at school, if you're watching this, a lot of people think water vapor is a gas, but it's not. It's actually a crossover point, okay, because you can't see a gas. So things are about to change as far as still water is concerned, because we've now got this massive tanker coming in. Look, I'm not even sure it's a tanker, I'm not sure what it is. Sorry I'm very dark, but I've exposed so you can see the sun. It's quite a nice picture. I've taken this picture actually as well. That was shot at 45th of a second. Well, this is shot at 45th of a second because that boat is moving quite quickly, so I'm trying to freeze it, and that should do the job. Well, you can judge. I'll put it on the screen so you can have a look for it. Now, obviously that's going to come in and cause the waves to ripple, so we are going to lose this lovely calm, flat sea for a little while, and it's going to wash up onto this estuary. But business has to go on, and it's still a lovely misty day. It's supposed to be really hot today. So look at it, it's going on its way. I've no idea what it is, but we have quite a lot of seafaring traffic coming through off to the estuary docks. It might have come from Felixstowe, I don't know what it's done. Looks big, battered now in the North Sea overnight, just coming in now. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to send the drone up, because drones are really useful for this kind of photography. If I want to move myself around to isolate a yacht, I can use the drone, and the drone will have a fast enough shutter speed to freeze anything that I need to do. So I've got the sun behind me, and the other thing that's good with the sun coming up is we've now got a little bit of light just kissing off the back of the yachts. Just give it a little bit of colour. So I'm going to shoot the picture that I've shown you before again, just to make sure I've got it, because I've still got the mist in the distance. We've got a little bit of light on the back of the yachts, just to lift it a little bit, and then I'm going to send the drone up and we'll do some work with that. Remember the drone dance? Getting good at it. These things are brilliant. Oh, it's been a lovely morning. I'm going to end it there. The sun is now up and the mist, such as it is starting to burn off a little bit. And to be honest, I've got the pictures I came for. I don't think there's any point hanging about. See what you think of the pictures. I'll put the images on the end. You've probably already seen some. And please tell me in the comments which one's your favourite. Just before I go, two things to mention. First of all, these are going to look really nice on printed out on some lovely photo speed paper. This high key stuff I love on a print, looks beautiful, and which means that I'm going to, just to celebrate the fact that I've now done a year in YouTube, I'm going to give you the YouTuber 20 offer again. So if you want 20% off any of the prints in my store, enter YouTuber 20 in the checkout and you'll get a 20% discount off anything that you like. And the other thing to say, which has taken quite a bit of work, but I'm really proud of it. We are, when I say we, myself and Gary Sugden, who you may have come across in some other vlogs of mine, have been working on a workshop up in Yorkshire. So as well as doing one-to-one workshops, which I can do around East Anglia if you're interested, we are now going to be running a Yorkshire limestone and waterfalls workshop on the 18th to the 20th of February 2024, limited to 6 people, including exclusive use of a B&B, a beautiful B&B up in Malham. We're going to be photographing all sorts of things up there, mainly limestone and waterfalls. Gary is a Yorkshireman. He was born and bred there, and he knows the location better than anyone I know, and I've been on several weekends up there with him, and where we have thought, well, I'm never going to get any pictures out of here, but Gary knows an awful lot of locations where we can get some images. So you'll have 2 of us for the price of 1. You get, even though there's 6 of us on the workshop, you'll get our exclusive attention, coaching, tuition, and being a teacher. Hopefully you'll understand it at the end. So it doesn't matter what level you're at. If you're a beginner, if you've never done landscape photography before and you fancy it, it's a really nice Christmas gift, maybe to a loved one. Limited to 6. Come and see us, come and stay with us. It will be a Sunday afternoon, then we do a sunset, and then we'll look at the pictures, and then Monday morning we'll go up early for a sunrise, shoot throughout the day, shoot a sunset, and the same on the Tuesday. Okay, breakfast is provided, you just need to provide lunch. But it's going to be great fun. I'm really looking forward. Gary's a great character as well, great photographer, so I'm hoping that's going to be a really good trip that you're interested in doing. If you're not, tell your friends. So from a very misty, actually from a not so misty Pin Mill in Suffolk, thanks ever so much for tuning in, and I will see you next Sunday. Not sure where I'll be. It's starting to get autumnal, the oak leaves are starting to turn, so maybe back in the woods I might go. I'm certainly going up to Norfolk in a couple of weeks time, so who knows, but whatever, I'll be there next Sunday, 6 o'clock. Come and check me out. Subscribe if you haven't. Take care of yourself. Goodbye.